Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great day, a great start to your day. And I'll just wait for a few. I want to say hi to a few people this morning. And Nick, good morning to you from the staff. Michael from Wawa, Nativity, good morning to you. And you guys are great. Thank you for coming on. And we got some good stuff going on. John from Elgin, Illinois, and Francis Marie. Nice to have you on with us this morning. We're going to look at a couple of studies. Beth, good morning. Judy, and how are you doing? Nice to have you on with us this morning. Laurie from Niagara Falls. Evangeline from Cape Breton. Nice to have you on with us. Jeanette from our staff. Good morning. Kerry from Nebraska. We love Nebraska. Jerry, great to have you guys join us this morning. Donna. Zien, bonjour, Zien. Say hello to Jean, our dear friends. Nellie. Joss from Sturgeon Falls. Jeanette, bonjour. And Bernice from Newfoundland. You guys are great. Thank you for coming on. Sandy. And from Stittsville, Rita from Nouveau-Brunswick. Port Hope is Olive. And we appreciate it, guys. You have no idea. Waiting for you, Yolande. Good morning to you. Okay, Annette from New Brunswick. Bon matin. Okay, let's get going, and then I'll come on afterwards. Debbie, how are you? And Nicole from Iowa. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Sandra, I want to do two things. I just want to mention one thing, and this came out over the weekend. Do you know where the virus is out of control? India. And they're talking about the variant that's coming out of India, and in Canada at least, they've closed all, I think just at the end of last week, they closed the border really to flights coming in from India. And you're wondering, India, I mean, generally, most of it is a pretty warm country, and you know me and talking about the sun and the virus, and I've mentioned this to you at a multitude of times. But listen to this. This is a study that came out on the weekend about India, okay? Absolutely astounding. So listen up as I share with you why India is having such a problem with the virus. Here it is. 97%, listen to this, 97% of all India's adults are deficient in, guess what? Vitamin D. 97% of all India adults are deficient in vitamin D. Crazy. And first of all, it comes for two reasons. One, the darker your skin, the more vitamin D you need. Okay, just remember that. The darker your skin, the more vitamin D that you need. You need to go into the sun longer because you have a protective mechanism, right? The dark skin, the dark pigment is there to protect your skin. God gave you that. You need more sun, not less. You need more sun. And I've talked to you ad nauseum about the importance of the immune system. Your immune system does not work properly without vitamin D. Your T cells floating through your bloodstream, especially the T cells coming out of the lymphatic system, the leukocytes, they need vitamin D. They have a little radar for vitamin D. That is what helps your immune system more than anything else. Secondly, we talked about this, a new study come out, and just the rays of the sun on your skin, the rays of the sun on your skin elevates nitric oxide. That helps because of blood vessels. Opens up your blood vessels. And why is that important? Because one of the side effects of the virus is, especially in the lungs, and the condition of inflammation and the cytokine storm that we call it. Vitamin D, the sun. And you know, it's crazy. And of course, we've mentioned this many a time. When you consume sugar, you put your T cells to sleep. They have a siesta when they should be working, when they should be protecting your body against the virus. When you're consuming sugar, guess what happens? Your immune system goes to sleep, especially those T cells, your Navy SEALs. They're your Navy SEALs of your immune system. So I just wanted to bring that out because you're going to hear more about it, and especially in, you know, the lockdown. Even the Prime Minister talked about it. The premiers are saying lock up the borders, because and especially like coming from India, and that they don't want people coming in. And you know what? These people are deficient in vitamin D. That's why they get the virus is so prevalent. Anyways, I thought I would bring that out. Now, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to talk about some of the statement. I just started writing statements out. I think somebody did this on Facebook a while back, you know, our little private Facebook group, some of the sayings of Dr. Martin, you know, the liver, the parking lot, the Costco parking lot, you know, the suitcase full, and some of the other statements, you know, like milk is white Pepsi. But these are just more statements about generalities in health, okay? So those are just sort of things I use. The other ones are sort of things I use so that you remember things. I try and simplify things so you remember. I'm a simple guy. That's the way I remember. I mean it. I get images in my head, and that's how I remember things. So hopefully these things are helpful for you, okay? But I just want to, I wrote out some things that I think you might find interesting, and maybe I'll post them after, and just to show you where I come from, okay? Here's a couple of things, okay? Here's a couple of things. Don't manage disease, prevent it. Don't manage disease, prevent it. Because medicine today, I think the mistake that they've made, in my opinion, the mistake that medicine has made, generally, just a general mistake. You know, listen, you're having a heart attack. Medicine is wonderful. Okay, you're having a heart attack. You need acute care. Okay, we all agree with that. You have a raging infection. Medicine is wonderful. Like, you need antibiotics, and listen. There's no herb or spice or vitamin or whatever that is good if you have an acute infection, you need antibiotics. So these are wonderful things, okay? Now, I don't even want to get into the fact that there's a double-edged sword to a lot of these things. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the emphasis. The emphasis generally is on management. For example, diabetes. Management. I wrote this. Let's not treat the cause. Let's treat the cause of illness, not the consequences of illness. Because, and this is true, I think, generally in medicine. And again, I'm not trying to be hypercritical. I'm just trying to get you to think. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but let me just say it. Let's not treat the consequences, because that's what happens. That's what the management is. Once you're a diabetic, always a diabetic. Now, and to some extent that's right, because even when somebody, for example, goes on the reset in 30 days, you can fix your insulin resistance. That's the key. It's the key. It's the key. It's another statement I make. Treat the cause of the illness. See, diabetes, it's type 2, adult onset, is food. It's not genetics, although we can talk about epigenetics. I've got a lot of diabetes in my family. Okay? I know that for me. But that makes you slightly more susceptible, but that's not the key, because you can override your genetics. I've always said that to you. You can override your genetics. You got bad genetics for cancer, a lot of cancer in your family. Override that. You got bad genetics for heart disease. Override that. You got bad genetics for diabetes. Override that. Because for diabetes specifically, it's food. It's a problem of carbohydrates. You and carbs don't get along. Okay? You and carbs don't get along. And the key to fixing it is to admit it and understand that. Okay. And you know what? You're going to get a lot of pressure in this world today to manage a disease. Manage it. Don't fix it. You want to fix it. You fix it, then manage it. Do you know what I'm saying? You fix it, then manage it. Because, I always tell people, even with diabetes, if you do the reset, you're going to go into remission. You'll go into remission. But it's like an alcoholic. You might be in remission, but once you're an addict, you're always an addict. You just you're one drink away. You're one drug away from getting back to be a full-fledged addict, right? Yeah. Now, the good thing about diabetes is once you go into remission, you can eat some carbohydrate, but not very much. This becomes a lifestyle, and you are always on alert. You're always disciplined. You have to be disciplined. Discipline is not a bad word, guys. Discipline is, it's really important to be disciplined in your life. It's good for everything. And, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard being disciplined. You look at an athlete, for example, a world-class athlete or whatever. I mean, it's, they didn't get there, not, of course they're gifted and all this and that. I understand that. Of course they are, but you better be in tip-top shape. You better be getting to the gym. You better be watching your nutrition. Olympic athletes and NHL hockey players and whatever, they are in shape 12 months of the year. They have to be. They're competing at such a level. And so discipline it becomes part of their lifestyle. It's just part of their life. They and they don't cheat very often. They can't. There's people they're competing against and they have to, but what it is, guys? It's competing against yourself. It's competing against yourself. And we have so many wonderful testimonies of people who are, they've done so well on the reset. And let me just bring this up a little bit. I can sit back in my chair. They've done so well on the reset. And when you listen to their story, they've got it in a sense that it was never easy. It was never easy to get to the point. But when they get to that point, there's almost like a tipping point. And I always say it's around the 3-week mark, that they realize that they have found something. Is there any worse addiction? I guess drugs are bad. And, I'm old enough to, drugs wasn't a big thing in my life. I just happened to be born, like alcohol, yeah, but, drugs, there wasn't much of it. But I've been in the prison ministry for a lot of years. And I just have a heart for people that are incarcerated. You know what it is in prison, guys? Can I tell you what it is? It's 99%. I'm not kidding you. The people that are incarcerated in Canada, at least, and I'm sure it's the same in the States, you know what it is? It's addiction. It's addiction. They're addicts. And they'll rob off their grandma to get another fix. Well, guys, food is a fix. Food is a fix. People today, they don't realize that they're hooked. And the food industry, and I've given you enough background as how they operate. The food industry is out to make you an addict. From the crunch of food, to the sweetness of food, to the taste of food, they have scientists, I'm telling you, and psychologists that work for the food industry. And you know what their goal is? Man, this is the best tasting food, and I want to hook you. Hook you. And man, look at the job they've done. If you look at society today, just be observant. Be observant. Use your eyeballs. God gave you eyes. Observe. Look at people today. We are so much bigger than we used to be. Why is that? Is it our genetics? It's not genetics. It's not the air. It's not the air. It's not the water. Oh, we're drinking water. There's something in it. There's hormones in there, although there is. But it's not that, guys. It's food. We went, when I was a little boy, like I always tell my grandchildren, Grandpa had ice cream and cookies too, But Canadians and North Americans were consuming 25 pounds of sugar a year. It's 200 pounds of sugar a year. Never mind all the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are just sugars. They're longer chain sugars. That's all they are. Don't fool yourself. You're having a piece of bread, you're eating sugar. It'll be sugar in 5 seconds. Don't fool yourself. But you see, they hook us. You know what? The food industry didn't say, you know what? Let's be really smart. And let's be good corporate citizens. And we are going to get people to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. They didn't do that. They didn't do, as a matter of fact, they told you. The food industry, and the pharmaceutical industry affected the thinking of even physicians. And they said, no, don't eat eggs, meat, and cheese. You know why? That'll give you cholesterol. Even today, you know how many times in a week I hear about the same thing. Oh, Doc, are you sure this is good for me? You know, eggs, meat, and cheese. I was with some friends the other day, and that can't be good for you, can it? I said, yes, it is. It's exactly the way you should eat. Because it's not, what's clogging up your arteries is not cholesterol. It's sugar damage. It's carbohydrates. Just understand that. And you know what? We've got it backwards. But the food industry, they did it on purpose. They wanted to hook people, and they hook people. Someone that has any kind of issue with obesity is an addict, and they don't even realize it. And here's what the food industry did. They another lie was, you need to eat more frequently. Because when you're eating dirty fuel, like carbohydrates, guys, and sugars, is dirty fuel. What do I mean by that? It don't last long. Quick fix. Your brain gets used to it. It says, okay, I'm headquarters, I get 25% of what you're eating. You eat sugar, and the brain goes, gimme, and then it burns it. And then it burns it so fast, it says, give it to me again, man. I'm out of fuel. You see, I use the illustration. I haven't used it in a while, but I use the illustration of pretend you're a wood stove. Pretend you're a wood stove. And you put paper and twigs on there. Are you going to heat your log cabin with paper and twigs? That's what carbs are. They're paper and twigs. Kindling. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can get the fire started, but you want to burn logs. You see, eggs, meat, and cheese is logs on the fire. They're logs on the fire. That's how your body operates. Look, it will just take the fuel you give it. If people insist on eating carbohydrates, crappy carbs, you know what's going to happen? They're burning paper and twigs. Guess what? That fire is gonna burn out very rapidly, and you're gonna have to eat more and more. So the food industry, do you think they're crazy? You think they're crazy? They said, well, look at this low-fat crackers. These are just low-fat cookies. Must be good, they're low-fat. You have a cookie, and in 5 nanoseconds, it's turned into paper and twigs on the wood stove, and you burned it big time. Fast. So guess what? You're hungry all the time. See, this is one of the things we talk about. And the higher your insulin goes, you get what we call leptin resistance. Big name. What does it mean? Leptin tells your body that you're not hungry. Stop eating. But what happens? You're a carboholic. Leptin doesn't work anymore because you have leptin resistance. And you're hungry all the time. Your brain is telling your body, eat. I just ate an hour ago. Yeah, but that's all right. You need some more because you were consuming paper and twigs on the wood stove. Got it? Paper and twigs on the wood stove. That's exactly what happens. That's why when I, remember now, you know how I do this teaching. When you lower your carbohydrates, okay, that's the reset. That's keto too. Lowering carbohydrates, right? The carbs are down. But that's not me, okay? That's only half. I want you to cut out your sugars and cut out your carbs. None. Keto, you can have a little bit. With the reset to start, at least, I don't want no carbs. But remember, you guys got to understand this because I get questions about this every day. And I get it. I get it. Those are good questions. I don't mind you asking the question. They don't, I want you to understand what's happening in your body. It's not a matter of just getting your carbohydrates down to here. It's good. That's always good. If you do nothing else, get rid of stinking sugar. It's wonderful for you. And your body will like you for it. It helps a lot. I'm not kidding you. But I'm into replacement theology. Okay, I just made up a term. Replacement theology. What do I mean by that? I'm replacing your carbs and your sugars. I'm replacing it. Okay? And you can go to Costco. You can go to the grocery store. You can get keto foods. That's not me, guys. I'm not, look, if you want to do that, I'm not saying that's bad for you. I'm just saying I have something in mind that is very, very, very important, guys. You have no idea what this does. It's when this goes down, the carbohydrates and the sugars go down, I'm elevating eggs, meat, and cheese. Why? Nutrients. Logs on the fire. Now you're going to burn rocket fuel. You're going to burn logs on the wood stove. What do logs do? They last a long time. You go to bed at night in a log cabin and you put, you don't put the fire out. You put logs. You don't put paper and twigs at night. You put logs on the fire and, you got heat being, you got heat coming off that stove, the wood stove, your fireplace. You got heat coming off of that all night. In the morning, you got to get up and do it again. But but isn't that, I don't know, I find it to be a good illustration of how your body works, guys. What does that do? Not only gives you that fuel, but it restores, first of all, it fixes insulin, the death hormone, the contributor to cancer, to cardiovascular disease, to Alzheimer's, the top 3 killers in society today. It helps that like nothing else, guys. Nothing else helps that better than doing the replacement theology. I like that. Might write a book about it. But you see why I'm doing that? Because I want to replace, it's not just lowering, it's administering another food group, the animal food group, because all of your nutrients, all of them, zinc, vitamin A, all your amino acids, all your minerals, are in those foods. And it's that burning that fixes the brain. It fixes the hormone, that leptin, the one that tells you you're full. How many people go and read the testimonies, guys? Scroll and read testimonies on the Martin Clinic Facebook group. But people, you know what, Doc? You know what? I'm not hungry like I used to be all the time. Yeah, because you're burning a better fuel and you fixed your leptin. You literally fixed your leptin. Your leptin is working again. You don't have leptin resistance. And your body is burning. If you have logs on the fire, you don't need to put another log on. Wait. You can find, and a lot of people find this, they can do intermittent fasting. They don't find it hard. Now, you need an adjustment period, guys, please. You know, I had a lady on, even this morning, I was answering a question, and, the lady, well, you know what, I find myself, I'm in 5 days on this thing, and I feel better, but sometimes I'm a little bit lightheaded. I said, listen, your body's making an adjustment. It's a huge adjustment. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to adjust. You know what? You know my motto, guys. This is simple, but it's not easy. Oh, I thought it was going to be easy. No big change in your life is ever easy, guys. You know that. No big change in your life is easy. It might be simple, but it's not easy. We're surrounded by food. Do you think the food industry likes me? They can't stand me. I get it. I'm cutting into their business. You've made the Metabolic Reset the #1 book in Canada. You think they like that? I'm telling people, get back to the animal kingdom. Yeah, you can have some plants too after the reset. You can have limited fruits and vegetables when you're done the reset, because you need to fix metabolic syndrome. You have to get rid of that. So that's why, for me, I want a paradigm shift to occur in medicine where they're starting to just treat the consequences of bad eating. Okay, let's treat it. Let's give you metformin. Let's give you insulin. Let's give you high blood pressure medication. They get the prescription pad out and they write prescriptions. I've told some physician friends, wouldn't it be nice if you could put your prescription pad to bed? Now, like I said, in acute care, use your prescription pad. You need an antibiotic, okay. But what you're going to find, I try and convince my doctor friends, what you're going to find when you change people's diet, when you do the replacement, when you are burning logs on the fire, it's amazing how much better people get. Then you're going to be able to take them off a lot of prescription medicine. I don't put the cart, guys, before the horse. Oh, doc, should I cut out my medicine? Well, let's fix you first. I don't want you to cut out your medicine. I don't tell people to do that. I really don't. I don't tell people to cut their medicine. I want you to fix first. Let's fix things. And then, if you don't have any more heartburn, you're not going to need your Nexium. You're not going to be reaching for your domperidone, right? You fixed it. If you don't have any more high blood pressure, well, you won't need your meds. But don't do that first. Fix first. That's me, guys. It's my thinking. It's what, and this is one of the reasons, I mean it. This is one of the reasons I stopped seeing individuals as patients. Anybody that ever saw me in my clinic, I think the testimonies would be, I think they liked me. I liked them. I loved my patients. I did. I meant it. I took my job super seriously. I was, you know what? It wasn't so much what I administered to them. It's what I would teach them. Even in the office, I tried to make them understand. It's food. And I'd give them all sorts of illustrations. I taught them. But my goal was always to get out and get to a bigger platform and get to people individually. I talked to a person I'd never met before the other day. And they said, "Oh, I've heard of you." Never met them. And they said, "I heard of you. My wife watches you on Facebook." "Oh, okay. Good for your wife." He said, "She talks about that all the time." I said, "Are you listening?" He said, "Well, not yet, but maybe I'll start." I said, "You should start. Your wife's smart. Listen to her." I felt like joking a little bit, saying she wasn't that smart because she married you. You know me, guys. I'm always teasing a little bit. But she's pretty smart. She's listening to Dr. Martin. You guys. I had a lady on, at least I saw it scrolled, when I went on the program. I think it was Friday or whatever. "I don't like his sarcasm." Oh boy. You came to the wrong place if you don't like sarcasm. I'm sorry. I'm too old to change for that, okay? It's me. It's who I am and it's who you get, okay? I like to laugh. I do. You know what, guys? I laugh at myself too, okay? I don't take myself too seriously. I don't. Don't take yourself too seriously. Some people, I rub them the wrong way. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to rub them the wrong way. The lady said, "Don't use the word weird." Okay. Unique. Okay, I'm trying to change my vocabulary. Okay, we love you guys. Okay, we're going to have a different schedule this week a little bit. I'm going to be on tomorrow, going to miss Wednesday and Thursday, and back on Friday. Okay, so that's just the way it's working out this week. And so we'll do a session tomorrow. It's going to be great. We're going to talk tomorrow. At least I'm planning on talking about how to increase your HDL. We'll do some real good teaching tomorrow and why the significance of that. And I think you'll appreciate it. If you're not a member of the Martin Clinic Facebook group, please join the cast of thousands of people that are part of the Facebook group. Thank you for that. We love that. And it's what a community. And you're welcome to join and get your family, friends. You're trying to get the message out to them. And then thirdly, thanks again for the Metabolic Reset. And, we talk about that book. It's, in my opinion, it's the most important book I've ever written. I really believe that. And, I'm writing a couple more right now. I'm working on a couple of new books right now. And, but I think the Metabolic Reset, serial killers, 2 hormones that want you dead was probably, was a huge success. But, and at those time I thought that's the greatest book. But now I give you the solution. The Reset is really the solution. It's the start to fix the body. There's nothing like it. I mean that. Nothing like the reset. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.